We're headed towards the end of the month, which means it is a perfect time to do a monthly reset. If you don't know what the monthly reset is, it's effectively a time where we can get ourselves cool, calm, and collected for the month ahead, making sure we know what's coming up, what needs to get done, all of that kind of thing. We have our reset list at the ready, or in particular, I have my reset list. If you don't already have one, then make sure you make yourself one by checking out this video. It's just a really useful process to make sure that we're starting the new month on the right foot. We're feeling good in ourselves, we're feeling good in our space, we're feeling like we're in the know about what we have to get done and what's coming up. The first part of my reset though is a physical space tidy. This is what my office is looking like at the moment, so it's not the worst it's ever been, but it could certainly use a bit of a reset. I like to start with my physical space because running around, I mean, I'm not running, let's be honest, but moving around at haste, trying to get things into, you know, the spaces they're supposed to belong, builds up a little bit of a sweat, so I like to do that before I do my personal self reset, where we have a shower, face scrub, hair mask, all of that kind of thing. So physical space first, then physical me. I like to use my physical space reset as an excuse to listen to some music or possibly a podcast, really just something that's going to make the process a little bit more entertaining, because funnily enough, putting stuff away isn't my favorite thing ever. If you have any recommendations for my reset playlist, so songs that are a little bit more upbeat and just kind of fun to listen to, make you kind of get in the mood to be moving around, drop them in the comments so that I can add them into my playlist. Always on the lookout for new songs. We do have a collection of things that either don't belong in my office or don't have a home right now. This guy is actually for an unboxing, but this stuff here either needs to go in the rubbish or doesn't belong in this room. Similar idea with this box and my boots that I had to remove because it got really freaking warm in here. As I said, that's the reason we do the physical space before the physical self, because I am quite warm and could probably use a shower, but that's not now, that's in a bit. We still have a couple more things to do on this physical reset space. The bubble wrap is going in our bubble wrap container, which is in Vogel's office, so that they are all together and ready if we need them. The hairbrush is going back into the bathroom where it belongs, and no, not just on the bench, it is actually going to go into the drawer, so it is in its home. And then the cardboard box, the Archer and Olive box, and the plastic container from a pen set that I recently bought is going downstairs. Normally I would actually put this in the recycling / rubbish / whatever, but those are currently down the road getting collected, so it can live here on the floor until those bins are back on my property. I'm not about making my reset harder by making myself go and collect my bins as well. But considering we're downstairs, it's not necessarily part of my reset, but I know it will give me that kind of clean slate feeling. We're going to put all of my clean clothes away. So that means getting them out of the dryer, emptying the dryer filter, and emptying the dryer condenser tank, taking those clothes upstairs, and putting them away in my closet. Getting laundry out of the dryer and putting it straight away is pretty much unheard of for me, so this was very much a feel-good task. Normally I just let it sit in my laundry basket for, I don't know, way too long. Like even up to the next week when I need to redo my laundry and I'm like, okay, I need this washing basket now, I should probably put these things away. So having it all hung up or put into my drawers was a very satisfying feeling. It can sometimes be a little difficult when you look into your basket of clothes and everything is black, so you pull something out being like, is this a top? No, it's a sock. So yeah, hanging them up, a good idea. Now as my space is feeling just a tad better, it's time to think about the next stage of the reset, which is the physical me reset. So, face mask. Usually a hair mask, but I'm thinking we might dye my hair today instead. I've been trying to dye my hair once a month. It hasn't been going so well. So let's deal with my mop. We have two color options today, red and purple. I'm genuinely torn. I don't know which one I want to go with. So let's flip a coin. Most of the time when I do flip a coin, it's honestly more of a which one was I hoping for rather than which one did the coin actually tell me to do. So we're gonna go with purple. I mean, it's purple on top of this color already, so it's not gonna be like vibrant purple, but it'll still be a nice refresh. But to do our hair dyeing, we need to mix up the dye, we need to apply it to my head, and then once we are fully coated, it's time to wait. The color has developed now, so we can go wash it out, which is good because my head's getting itchy. It's just like having something wet sitting on your head, and like your hair up like this, for a longer period of time. Yeah, just like makes my scalp tingle. It's not like a painful tingle, it's just irritating. Anywho, shower time! As can probably be expected, I'm not going to be taking you along for shower time, but I'm going to be rinsing out my hair, doing my face mask. Normally I'd also do a hair mask as part of my reset, but because we've been dyeing the hair, we're not going to do it this time. We are going to give it a good scrub, a thorough wash out, so that then I don't end up leaving trails of colour around the house. Physical self-reset portion is complete now. I'm just gonna let my hair dry naturally because most of the time I tie it up and put it into a bun and it doesn't dry until like an hour before bedtime. I know it's not good, it's just what I do. But our next stage is the digital reset, which is in dire need of doing. Up first for this stage in the reset, we have an inbox zero, so effectively just going through my email inbox and either sorting them into folders or actioning them if I can, if it doesn't take too long, or just straight out deleting them. I find that I do let clutter kind of build up in here more than I would otherwise like to, and while automatic email filters can help with that, like automatically filtering them into certain folders, I then do also have to go into those folders and make sure that they remain tidy. As part of this step, I'm also pulling out any action steps that I need and adding them to a separate brain dump, just so that I can make sure that once this stage of the reset is done and I get on to actually actioning tasks and such, I have a list of the tasks that are associated with my email inbox. While I have this as part of my monthly reset, it is also part of my weekly reset, so I have a little bit more maintenance going on in this space, just so I don't get to the end of the month and it's a completely overwhelming task, because if I only did this once a month, I would certainly avoid it. Along with my email inbox though, part of the digital reset is to do more of my digital space. So we're thinking places like my downloads folder, which doesn't need to be done every week, but does certainly need to be done once a month. Again, that involves sorting things into folders, deleting items that shouldn't be there anymore, and just in general moving stuff around, tidying things up. I also like to make sure that I go and do my desktop because although I'm pretty good at not just dumping things onto the desktop, normally they end up in one of my documents folders or in the downloads folder. I have recently been noticing that I have been getting a little bit slack with just dumping things there, so I need to address that. And I'm also just trying to clean up any folder entropy or folder disorganization. Honestly, I think that my digital organization system kind of needs an overhaul. It's like okay and workable at the moment, but I would really like to get in there and kind of like give it a full, proper, hardcore reset. Maybe we can do that at some stage, but not today. This is the monthly reset. What I also want to do is clear out a folder that I have in my email inbox, which is called To Action. It currently has 87 items in it, and it's just kind of stressful. A lot of that one is taking information out of the emails and putting it into a place where it's a little bit more useful. So I'm gonna put some music on, I'm gonna do that now. The majority of these ones are getting organized in Notion, and the majority of them also relate to content creating. So I have several spaces on Notion dedicated to that process. So whether that's idea generation or workflow or all of that kind of stuff. Most of the emails are getting converted into ideas, and I need them recorded in a way that I can actually find them again and they make sense to future me, rather than just letting them sit in my email folder. I 100% need to get in a better habit of doing that on a more regular basis. I've been kind of neglecting that folder, so I'm thinking that organizing it is going to be part of my monthly reset moving forward, because like I had ones from halfway through last year that I had to organize, and they're weekly emails, so that was a lot. Another digital space that I'm going to do a little clear out of, or a little reset, is my YouTube watch later, because I have a tendency of just chucking things in there and forgetting about them. So let's go and organize that, see if they are actually things I still want to watch. But once my watch later list is all cleaned out, it's time for the next stage in our reset process, which is my financial reset. This one mainly involves actually populating my budget, because although I'm supposed to do it on a weekly basis, I am notoriously bad at that. So at least having a once a month check-in means that it doesn't build up too much. Like, it's still not great, but having it once a month is at least something. This process is actually quite straightforward because I'm just using my Excel finance tracker. All it really involves is downloading my bank statements off of my online banking app and then transferring this data into my tracker. The nice part about this one is that it gives me a snapshot overview of my spending and all of the different categories that I like to keep track of. And it gives me a nice visual representation using bars of color in each of the different cells for each of the different spendings in each of the different months. If you wanted this tracker for yourself, I do also sell it, so that one's linked in the description box below. Once I've logged all the spending though, then I actually have to go and review my spending. So thinking about which categories did I maybe spend a little too much in, which ones did I do pretty well in, that kind of thing. An opportunity to set myself some loose goals for the month ahead, so I keep on top of my finances. Because we aren't quite at the end of the month just yet, I'm gonna hold off on that one until like the last day of the month, or maybe the first weekend after the last day of the month. But what I am going to do is review my no spend challenge and write my spend trend statement. My spend trend statement goes onto my monthly reflection page, just in this corner up here, and it's essentially just a way of me capturing the trend or kind of like habits in my spending across the month as a whole. The data for this one is primarily taken from my no spend challenge, but as you can see we do have a little bit of the month left, so I'm just going to be writing it in pencil today. So far we can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 spend days, or yes spend days. So these are days that I spent money that goes against these rules, or spending that happened in the non-exemptions category. Given that I had 10 of those days in April, and I've already got 9 in May, and we've still got at least a week and a bit left, we can see that I have kind of steadily increasing amounts of yes spend days. So writing down my spend trend statement, we can note something along the lines of me spending more or having more yes spend days as we reach the middle of the year, mainly because I find that towards the middle of the year, my motivation kind of takes a slump, especially for challenges that are year long. The idea with my spend trend statements though is to gain more information about my spending habits. Information that I can take forward with me so that I can ideally spend less money on things that I don't want to. Writing this spend trend statement is the last part of my financial reset or financial review, and that means we're getting into my goals review. And the first part of that is to flick back to my actions list and have a look at what's been happening. The start of my goal review very much just involves me going through my actions list and checking off everything that has happened so that I can then see what hasn't happened and consider whether I want to move it forward into the next month. This one's right next to my self-care tracker though, so I'm also taking the opportunity to fill in that one. Because I'm getting towards the end of the life of this journal, I always find that my motivation to fill things in kind of decreases. So I haven't been keeping up with it as much as I'd like to, so might as well take the opportunity to get it up to date. Once the actions list is filled in though, normally if we were very, very close to the month, I'd then start thinking about like, okay, which of these do I want to pull forward? But before I do that, we're gonna flip forward to my monthly reflection and I'm gonna fill this one out first. You can see that some of the areas I've already started filling in. I do like to try and fill these in as the month progresses, just so that then I don't have to do all of it at the end of the month. My memory typically isn't that good to actually be able to remember like all of my memorable moments or all of my challenges and wins and stuff like that. So if I fill it in as I go, it makes the monthly reset just a little bit easier. Here I'm just going in and filling in any of the sections that I can think of or have something to comment on. For instance, I'm not going in and filling in my finances section because I don't know how much I spent cumulatively for the entire month just yet, just because the month isn't finished. Same idea with my no spend and yes spend days. We have some of that data, but not all of them. While my challenges and improvement section I was able to fill out in full, I do have a little bit of extra space in my other sections that I can fill out towards the end of the month, or closer to the end of the month. In particular, my memory section, I know we have a couple more events that are coming up that I can put in there. I might just need to go back through my calendar and have a look for any other ones. Same idea with notes, I don't have anything to note just yet. And the looking forward to a nervous sections, maybe a couple of extra things in the win section. We'll just have to wait and see. As said, part of my goal review does typically involve picking my next actions for my actions list, but as there's still a week of this month to go, I have a small likelihood that I might actually get some more of these things done, so rather than transferring them to the next month and then already having them done before the month starts, or whatever else could happen, I'm just gonna wait, I'm gonna hold off a little bit until we're just that bit closer to the end of the month. But it is a typical part of my monthly reset. What is also a typical part of my monthly reset is getting my planner set up or populated for the month ahead. So filling out my monthly log, filling in the actions list like we mentioned, putting in the habits for any of my habit trackers, and other stuff like that. Because I'm migrating into a new journal though, we are going to have that one as a separate video, so make sure that you stay tuned to check that one out. Throughout the process of the reset though, in particular from my digital space reset onward, my desk tends to get a bit messy again, so I like to finish off my reset by doing a retidy of my desk, making sure that everything is where it should be so I can move into the next month feeling cool, calm, and collected. Now that might seem like a lot of stuff to do in just one reset session, which is actually why I spread these tasks out over 4 days. That's one of the ways that you can make your monthly reset process just a little bit easier. And if you were looking for more tips on how to make your reset easier, then this video is the one to check out. If you'd rather see more reset content though, I have a full playlist of my previous resets, so click or tap on either of those and I'll see you over there.